Online reviews are the front door to your practice now. Before a new patient ever calls, they search your name and what they see is a star rating and a handful of comments. Here's the problem. The patients who love you rarely think to leave a review. And the reviews that do come in often sit there unanswered. Most practices already ask for reviews sometimes, when the front desk remembers. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how to build a workflow that asks every eligible patient automatically at the right moment and drafts a reply to every review that comes in, while a person still approves every public word. And it does all of it in a way that stays on the right side of Google's rules. Let's name what's actually going wrong, because it isn't that you don't ask. Most practices ask. The problem is where the reviews leak out. The first leak is the ask itself. It depends on a person remembering, the front desk catching a happy patient at checkout on a good day when it isn't slammed. So the ask happens sometimes, to some patients, and the ones who'd have left the warmest reviews walk out the door and never get asked. Your rating ends up shaped by who happened to feel motivated, not by the full picture of how your practice actually does. The second leak is on the way in. Reviews arrive, good and bad, and they sit there. The 5-star ones get no acknowledgement. The critical ones get no response, which is the one every future patient scrolls down to read. A practice that answers its reviews looks present and cared for. A practice that never replies looks absent, and absence is what people remember. Both of these are the same kind of problem. They depend on a busy human doing a small task at exactly the right moment, over and over, forever. That's precisely the kind of work you can hand to a workflow, as long as a person still owns anything that gets published in your name. Let me be precise about what we're building, because reviews are an area where a clever shortcut can get you in real trouble. This is two halves that share one rule. The machine drafts, a person approves what goes public. The first half asks. Every evening, it looks at the day's completed visits, checks who's actually eligible, and sends a review request. By text, by email, or both, depending on how the patient opted in. Every eligible patient, automatically, the same day, while the visit is still fresh. No one has to remember. The second half responds. When a new review comes in, the workflow drafts a reply, warm, on-brand, and safe, and routes it to the owner to approve or send back before a single word is published. Now, the rule that matters most, and it's worth saying slowly. We do not gate reviews. Gating is when you screen patients first, happy ones get sent to Google, unhappy ones get quietly routed to a private form, so their bad review never goes public. It's common, and it violates Google's policy and draws the FTC's attention, so we don't do it. Every patient gets the exact same review link. We do add one friendly line inviting anyone to reach out privately if something fell short, but that's offered to everybody on top of the public link, never instead of it. Same link, same invitation to everyone. That's what compliant by design means here, and it's the part I want you to copy exactly. Let's build it. Same setup as the other videos on this channel. NAN for the workflow, mock data only. No real patient information anywhere in this demo. New to NAN, there's a full setup walkthrough linked in the description. Start there, then come back. The first section finds who to ask, and it runs on a schedule, every evening after the day winds down. It reads the day's completed visits, then pulls each of those patients' records, their phone, their email, and how they opted in. A code step joins it together and applies the rules that decide who actually gets asked. Watch 5 patients. Avery Holt was seen today. She's opted into both text and email, and she hasn't been asked recently. She's eligible. Lena Ortiz is eligible too, but text only, because that's the one channel she opted into. Now, the 3 the workflow deliberately skips. Marcus was a no-show, so there's no visit to thank him for. Priya was already asked 23 days ago, inside our 90-day window, so we don't pester her again. And Daniel is marked do not ask, so he's out, full stop. Maybe he opted out of messages, maybe it was a sensitive visit like a behavioral health or bad news appointment, where an automated review request would land wrong. And to be clear, that flag is about consent and context, never about who we think will leave a good review. We never screen patients by their expected rating. That's the gating we'll come back to, and it's exactly what we don't do. Notice none of these rules are the AI's judgment. They're plain conditions you write and can see sitting right in the workflow. Section 2 sends the ask. This is where we should get more reviews turns into requests actually going out. The same day, every eligible patient. No one relying on memory. First, the workflow composes the message. It greets the patient by first name, drops in one single Google review link, the same link every patient gets, and adds that friendly line. If anything fell short, reply and let us know privately. One node, one message, and notice there's no AI here. This copy is templated on purpose, so it's identical and predictable for every patient. Then it routes by channel. Avery opted into both, so she gets a text and an email. Lena opted into text only, so she gets just the text. The workflow respects each patient's choice instead of blasting every channel. The text goes out through the same phone number from the front desk video, and the email goes out as clean HTML. And here's the quiet but important step. The moment a request goes out, the workflow stamps it on the visit, the date it was asked and which channels were used. That stamp is what makes the whole thing safe to run every night. Tomorrow, when the scan runs again, these patients are already marked, so nobody gets asked twice. The ask fires automatically, but it never becomes nagging. Section 3 is the other half of the workflow, the reviews coming in. This is the part most practices ignore, and it's where trust is actually won or lost. Watch what happens when a review lands. This one's 2 stars, a frustrated note about a long wait. The workflow reads the rating and the comment, and the AI generates a draft reply, written specifically for this review. Here's that draft in the email it sends to the owner. Notice how careful it is. It thanks the person and invites them to reach out privately so the practice can make it right. What it never does matters just as much. It never confirms this person was actually a patient. It never mentions anything clinical. It never argues back. That restraint isn't luck. The AI is instructed to reply that way because one careless public sentence can turn a bad review into a privacy problem. But the draft doesn't get published. And this is the whole point of the video. It's emailed to the owner with 2 buttons, approve or needs edit. The workflow literally stops and waits for a person. Approve and the reply is logged as ready to post. Send it back and it's flagged for a rewrite. Nothing goes out. Now here's what makes this more than a template. A 5-star review runs the exact same path, but look at the draft. Same node, a completely different reply. A warm, specific thank you, and no private contact line, because none is needed. The AI reads each review and fits the tone to it, while the guardrails stay identical either way. So the AI generates every draft, customized to each review. And a human reviews and approves it before a single word is published in your practice's name. That pause, that one click, is what makes this safe to point at your public reputation. Let's close the loop on the part that keeps this out of trouble, because reviews are governed by rules a lot of practices don't know they're breaking. Start with gating, since it's the one everyone gets wrong. The tempting move is to screen patients first and only push the happy ones to Google. We don't, and neither should you. Every patient gets the same link. The private "tell us if something fell short" line is an addition offered to everyone, never a detour that hides bad reviews. That single design choice is the difference between a system Google rewards and one that can get your listing penalized. Then the replies. Every public response is drafted by the AI, but approved by a human before it posts. The workflow never publishes on its own. And the draft is deliberately kept safe. It never confirms someone was a patient, and it never mentions anything clinical because a reply is public, and a public reply is not the place to acknowledge protected health information. The AI writes, the owner decides, the published word is always human-owned. And one honest note on data. This demo runs entirely on mock records, so there's no protected health information in it. A real reputation workflow connects to your patient list and your messaging, so a live deployment needs the compliant path, the right hosting, a signed business associate agreement, the whole setup. That's the part most practices get wrong, and it's exactly the part we handle for you. I've packaged this whole workflow as a free download. The importable N8N file and the ready-to-use review sheet with all 4 tabs set up, plus a pack of compliant response templates and a 1-page guide on why no gating keeps you safe. The link's in the description. Grab it, and you've got the skeleton of your own review and reputation engine. If you'd rather have it built and wired into your real schedule and your practice's inbox instead of assembling it yourself, you can book a working session on that same page. Either way, subscribe. I break down one of these practice automations in every video. And if you'd rather build on a platform that's HIPAA-compliant out of the box, I use Keragon. Link in the description. Quick disclosure. They're an affiliate partner, so that link supports the channel. See you in the next one.